dumb jocks, smart Asians, greedy Jews, and angry black women. These are all stereotypical labels that we're all familiar with here today that have been assigned to whole groups of individuals. For those of you who did not know, I am the angry black woman. I have been assigned this emotional label. But the truth is, vibrant human beings have a wide range of emotions, black women too. I am a human resources leader in my organization. I'm responsible for curating an inclusive and high-performing work environment. I interact with management and employees at every level, every day. I am a subject matter expert. As a practitioner, a teacher, and a local leader in my volunteer HR organization. My name is Angela Shaw, and I lead by example. I'm a black woman, but I am not angry all of the time. As a child, I can remember my father talking about the mistreatment of black people. Him working himself to the bone to take care of our family. Him feeling like the white man was in control of him, how much money he made, whether or not he received a promotion, and the ability to bring his whole self to work. My parents and adults talking about people thinking that we were less than. One of my earliest childhood memories regarding race has to do with hair. Anybody who knows me knows that I am a hair person. I do not like one hair out of place. That trait was instilled in me by my mother. It was one of the few things that I could control that I couldn't do through expensive clothing or having a lot of choice. I was about 6 years old, and a white lady touched my hair, and she remarked to her husband about how soft it was. And I remember thinking that she was unusually surprised by that fact. And what I learned from that experience was differences aren't just related to skin color, but that there are also similarities. Both of our hair was soft. I've thought about that day often. It wasn't until I went to junior high school, Keeling Junior High, that I really started to mix with white people. Up until that point, my life had been mostly only people of color. My city was, and truthfully still is, very segregated. So my place of worship, my neighborhood, my elementary schools had all been people of color. And when I started to mix with white people, this is when I was introduced to labels. And early on, the labels actually came from my own race. I was labeled as thinking I was white, or that I was better than everybody else because I loved reading and good grades came easy to me. But I really ignored it because up until that point, it didn't affect me in terms of opportunity. And I didn't want to create trouble. But then I went to high school. And in high school, that's when I really felt labeled. There are 3 things about high school that I will always remember that I hated. 1, being the only one or one of a very few people of color in every single class. 2, never really feeling included or being included. And 3, being ignored. And I didn't fight it or make trouble or push to be seen. After high school, I went right into the working world. And oh, was I militant. Not in the sense of my blackness, but in the sense of I was not taking anything from anybody because I was smart, hardworking, and ambitious. And I thought that that would be enough. The lessons I learned from that. But that's for another talk. This is when the angry black woman label was born. It came in the form of managers, coworkers, and later subordinates telling me that they didn't like the way I spoke to them. My questions back were always, was I unprofessional? Did I raise my voice? Did I use profanity? The answer was always a resounding, no, you did not, but I don't like the way you talk to me. But what I realized was it was my directness. It was my holding everybody to the same high standard that I held myself. It was my ability to communicate exactly what I wanted to say in the least amount of words. And sometimes it was a look. It was just a look that people did not seem to take to. Let's talk a little bit more about anger and its uses. In an article written about anger management, Dr. Casanova said that anger is only followed by aggression about 10% of the time, and that most aggression is not related to anger. So being angry does not mean that you're violent or that you have bad behavior. It does not mean being aggressive. So when the educated, experienced Black woman steps into the room, ready to live her life out loud as a subject matter expert with a seat at the table, without apology, it sometimes scares people. As humans, we tend to be afraid of the unknown. And instead of seeking similarities, we use differences to label and to hurt. What does this look like? Well, it's the subordinate who, because of differences, does not want to take direction from the woman of color. It's the boss who does not want the woman of color giving suggestions or speaking up when she's the only person of color in the room. And it's coworkers who decide that the woman of color is not deserving of her hard-earned promotion and raise, and choose instead to slander her behind her back. I know women of color who have suffered in these ways. I have suffered in this way. But I decided that I would never let another person's feelings about me, my race, or my gender determine who I was going to be. I am a vibrant human being. Vibrant human beings express a wide range of emotions, Black women too, and that includes me. A little more about anger. A study in the January 2001 Journal of Personality and Social Psychology showed that people tend to grant more status to politicians and colleagues who express anger than to those who express sadness or guilt. How many of you have encountered the angry male leader in your workplace who seems to go unchecked? He yells, he screams, he slams doors. People tend to stay out of his way. You even have to ask his assistant if it's okay to go in that day. This angry male leader is granted endless grace in his angry outbursts because he is passionate and he gets results. Black women are not granted this same grace. Serena Williams, one of the greatest athletes of all times, she is not allowed to get angry or to stand up for herself when she feels injustice in her workplace. Serena's response to a call by the umpire at this year's 2018 US Open at no time crossed the line into unheard of or violent behavior. Yet the backlash that Serena received shows that society still has many issues with race and with gender. As Black women, we take on harassment, sexism, racism, unequal pay, and not being able to express all of our emotions. We use the angry Black woman label as a tool to shame us into suffering in silence instead of ending the suffering. In 2017, UC Berkeley did a study that showed instead of the traditional 6 categories of emotions, that there are actually 27. This research told us that many times an experience is actually a culmination of all of our emotions. This study was run by Alan Cowan, a graduate student, and he said, I hope science will use this taxonomy of emotions to explore how emotional states vary across culture. Alan Cowan, I do too. This thought that as a Black woman, I am a vibrant human being with a full range of emotions is everything that I am today. I am a college-educated, hardworking, two-time nonprofit association president, subject matter expert in my chosen field. All emotions are valid, so equal emotional rights for me does not mean less rights for you. Like you, I express joy, I express nostalgia, I express sadness and even anger, or any of the other 27 range of emotions that there are out there. I give myself permission to be and to feel. And I want all of you to grant me this same grace. Thank you.